we have a retaining wall job coming up that is vastly different from the tender documents. And I think I may have talked about this before, but um, sometimes in commercial contracting, you'll bid a job on the tender documents, and then you're required to provide shop drawings for the wall, in this case, that's going in. And so we sent them off to um, the company that was providing the shop drawings, which is basically engineered drawings for the wall. They came back vastly different from the tender document drawings. And since it was sole source, we had no other option. We have to use them. We brought this to the general contractor, and they were back and forth. The consultants wanted some more details put in and everything. I said, okay, guys, like this is a wall that's very different from what we priced. There's $70,000 in concrete fill in this wall block that was not there in the tender documents. Like somebody has to pay for this cost. And so they're hemming and hawing. They're like, yeah, well, it's not really that different, but it is different because the wall is a different size now, and they used to be clear infill, and now it's concrete infill, and you have to pump it in, and you have to dowel the corners and pump concrete into them. We're just like, I know you guys want to get this job going, but we cannot proceed without a change order, a PO to reflect this. The guy wanted us to just mobilize and start, and then we would figure it out after the fact.
Yeah, fuck that.
I'm like, this is absolutely not how this is gonna go.
Yeah. No.
Guys, like, we are not making anybody happy by mobilizing to get this wall started and then fighting for our money later. He's like, please, we really need to get going on this. Well, I don't know what to tell you. They're
I
still
mean,
making changes to the drawings,
the easiest solution is to say, I'll get going on it and I'll build what's in the tender document.
which is not at all what.
But that's like the argument with them is if they're saying you need to get going on this, like, cool, man. I'm just going to build what's in the tender document. That's what I priced. That's what I'm building. You can pay me for it when I'm done.
Well, there would be no payment because that is not at all what needs to be done now.
Who does the real problem is whoever let that out for tender that way.
Correct, right? And the GC was like, well, your shop drawings weren't like the tender drawings. I said, listen here. This isn't an NDL problem. This is whoever you hired problem, right? If it wasn't NDL, it would have been some other landscaper. But it's a single source project, right? So all the drawings are done by the same company using the same material. It's not me who decided to change the spec. It's the engineer.
It's the manufacturer of the material.
Yeah. And they're engineers, right? Because
If
they have
the
to.
whoever when they that went out for tender, they called that engineer and said, "We need this retaining wall. Give us an engineer's drawing for this retaining wall to put out for tender."
Yeah.
So they sent that job engineered. The engineering that you bid came from that company.
It must have, right? There's
Where
the
else,
only
if
way
it's
they're the
single
only
sourced, where else did it come
source,
from?
right? So,
If you want to recoup your money and you're if you want to recoup your money and you're the GC or the client, like if you're the stakeholder, you need to sue the engineer that gave you those tender drawings.
yeah, that's it. But
You
you're not
didn't
going to strong arm the landscaper into building you something for $70,000 more.
like are you going to pay you'd probably be paying to put the wall up then.
Likely, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like why would you do that?
Yeah.
You'd be better to say, I'm not doing this job, sue me.
Jack goes, well, did you sign the contract? I said, no. And the signing was due months ago. I said, by not signing the contract, it works both ways, right? Obviously, they still want me to do the wall. I'm low bid, right? But without signing it, I'm not contractually obligated to build them this wall. Contracts work two ways. right?
This sounds like the army guy
Hey,
on a much more epic scale.
I'm not putting myself in a place where I'm obligated to do this now.
But even if you had signed the contract, you're only obligated to build the wall that's in the tender.
Correct.
You're not obligated to, the second they do a change, your obligation is over.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Like the easiest thing to maintain with these people, if they're complaining to you, is to just keep saying, I'll build what's in the tender documents. Let me know when I can start.
yeah. Well, then they'll want me to mobilize there. Get the block here at least. Well, there's $50,000 in block that I'm going to have to pay for, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And then
until
it could,
everything is sorted out, I'm like, I'm not mobilizing until we have a clear PO here. And if the client didn't expect to spend this extra $70,000 or so, then we're at an impasse here.
that has nothing to do with us.
That I said this is a relationship killer by the simple fact that you didn't provide or the client didn't provide proper drawings from the start when it went out to tender. You just muddied the water for this whole project. So,
How
so we'll
much
see
is
how
the
it
wall
shakes.
worth? How much is the wall worth?
I think it's like 150K or something like that.
So it's more than half. It's like half the wall extra.
Yes.
That's a big mistake by an engineer.
That's a big mistake, right? So I asked another estimator of mine from a different company, not an estimator of mine, but an estimator I talked to. I said, "Has this ever happened to you before?" He's like, "Oh yeah, we got into that once before, and we ended up suing, and we won." Like he's like, almost the exact same thing happened. They gave a generic drawing for something in the tender documents, and whenever it came time to build it, they had to provide shop drawings, and the shop drawings were vastly different from the generic drawing that was on the tender documents. So the client said, um, build it the way the tender documents were, and they sued them for it after the fact. They even went to, have you ever heard of OPSS 127?
No,
Apparently, OPSS 127 will give you the standardized equipment rates all across Ontario for government work. So if you put yourself in a T&M situation, these machine rates have to be followed. And
mm,
they're astronomical. Like they would lose you absolutely every single job if you were to follow those guidelines for bidding commercial work. So you would be getting $160 an hour for triaxle work
nice.
based on OPSS 127.